Yo, welcome to the KaneSaid Sports Show, and I'm your host, Kane Bradfield. And y'all know my slogan, the fame is free, but the grind costs, baby. Yo, what's up, everybody? Thank y'all for tuning in to another episode of KaneSaid. I'm your host, Kane Bradfield. Y'all know my slogan, the fame is free, but the grind costs, baby. Listen, man, I got a special guest in the house. We're going to talk a little football, man. We're going to talk a little football. Big dog, how you doing, man?
Man, I'm good. I'm glad to, you got your face on the wall now, so you done doing big things.
Hey,
I'm
look,
proud of you.
Hey, you got me over your shoulder, big dog.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking right on me, so I got you.
Yeah. Look, man, tell people who you are, big dog.
Well, my name's Andrew Caraway. I'm the recruiting coordinator and social media coordinator at Callaway High School. I also do the play-by-play on the radio since 2016 for them. So,
Okay.
that's what I do around here.
I love it, man. So, man, tell me where did all this start, man? You know, something, the love, you know what I'm saying, of you loving this thing called football, man.
Yeah. Man, I tell you, it goes back probably when I was a kid. When I was growing up, I was always kind of the smaller kid growing
Right.
up for a while till I hit a growth spurt. But I grew up. I grew up playing baseball. I mean, quite frankly, I was a much better baseball player than I ever was a football player.
Okay.
But I just have always been so fascinated with the game and just the strategy. Growing up, watching all the different teams. I grew up in the '90s, so you had the Cowboys coming on, Green Bay Packers. You had the Patriots through the 2000s,
Yeah.
the Broncos, the Colts. So it was always fun to watch all that stuff growing up. Got to watch some great college dynasties, Miami Hurricanes.
Oh, man.
The Alabama, their dynasty, their run they're on. So it's always been really into the game of football. I played it as a kid growing up a little bit. So Pee-wee, some middle school, played in high school at Callaway for Coach Wiggins. It's funny, the players, when I tell them the players at school that I played for Coach Wiggins' first team
Right.
that he ever had, they feel like they act like I'm 90 years old.
Oh,
I'm like, man, that wasn't that long ago now.
Right. You feel like yesterday.
05, 06 wasn't that long ago, man. But yeah, I enjoyed it, man. And then, I just always had wanted to get back into football, since obviously I wasn't going to play it at college. Just my brothers both played at Callaway for Coach Wiggins, so we've been a part of that program for a long time. And I'd always had a passion for sports media.
Okay.
I listened to a lot of podcasts, like Ryan Russillo, Mike and Mike in the morning.
Yeah,
Sometimes Pyle Feinbaum show. We got stuff like that. So I just stayed around the game, and I was blessed in 2015. Tony Walls, who was the play-by-play man for the Cavaliers for Eagle 102, and his son and me actually grew up together. Good friend of mine, Luke Walsh. Shout out if you're watching.
Shout out.
But his dad Tony called me one day and said, "Hey, I'm not going to do this forever, so I'd love for you to kind of come see what I do and take over for me when I retire."
Yeah.
Now, Tony, I thought we were going to do this gradually, but you brought me in 2015, and then in 2016, you just said, "I'm retiring, dog. I'm out."
You threw that fire, right?
Yeah, you threw that deuce out. So I kind of, I'll never forget my first broadcast. I did it with Shane Andrews, my longtime broadcaster. I started out color.
Okay.
And people don't know this a lot, but I prefer color. I do play-by-play now, but I love doing color. I like watching a play. I like talking about how it builds up. Watching, a pulling guard or on a toss sweep, watching an H-back seal on that sideline. Things like that. I like watching how a play develops and then talking about it. So I did a color with Shane Andrews for a couple years. Had a blast, and then he moved on to Valley football. He lives in Valley, so he went on to do that. And at that time, they approached me about doing the play-by-play, and I haven't looked back since. Me and my broadcast partner, Chris Wheeler, shout out to Chris.
Shout out.
He's one of the best in the business.
Man, most definitely.
We had a heck of a ride last year.
Oh, my gosh. Man, big dog, you know we're going to have to talk about that ride, though.
Yeah.
We definitely going to talk about that. But so tell me this, man. I'm going to be honest, man. Doing play-by-play, man, that's a slick gift. Like, I'm going to be honest, man, that's tough.
Yeah.
That's tough, man, because, I'm be honest, man, in my own little dark room, I've tried that. That's tough, man.
It's tough, man. And I tell you what helped me, I think, was going from color to play-by-play. Because I think it allowed me to understand the pace of the radio booth a little bit. And also just getting to know the players.
Yeah.
Because when you do play-by-play, you look less at numbers and more at mannerisms on the field. Like last year, I knew Demetrius Coleman's mannerism. I knew Charlie Dixon. He was, besides being the big mammoth on the backfield. Right. But you know how kids, the swagger that they walk with or their twitches and things that they do.
Right.
You know who these kids are, and it just makes it easier to call the plays. Now, for me being a part of the program too, it helps that I know a lot of the stuff that's going on. So it gives me a better picture. So it helps me paint the picture a little bit better. But I will say doing color analyst for 2.5 years was a big help when I made the transition to play.
So look, man, talk about your nerves, man.
Yeah.
Man, talk about the first time. Give me that. I don't know if you remember. I'm sure you remember that first time you did it. And give me them nerves, man.
I remember it was the scrimmage game against Northside in 2016. There was a lot of questions about that team. Had Dylan Johnson coming in at quarterback, had Braylon Sanders at wideout, DJ Atkins, a guy named Tank Bigsby was just a freshman that year. And I remember us at Hogansville Elementary, Hendricks Field, and boy, I think that's the worst broadcast in the history of broadcast right there.
Why you say that, Big?
Because I had all these notes. And I was so nervous. I said all my stuff in like the first segment, and I was like, "Oh my God, we got 3 more hours. I don't know what to do." So I learned a lot from that. There was a lot in that broadcast. If you go back and listen to it, I'm sure you can find it on YouTube. A lot of
trying to drum up something.
Trying to figure out something to talk about. Man, it's hot out here, man.
Woo!
You see that yellow jacket nest over there? Just trying to kill time. But no, that was brutal. But we learned a lot. And once you have a partner for a little while, you learn how to bounce off each other. Color, you got to do a good job of letting your partner call the play. You chime in. That's something I had to work on too. Because me playing for the Cavaliers and being involved with the program, I'm naturally a fan. So that's how I try to call the game is as a fan. Some people don't like that, and I don't care, to be honest with you. But there's a lot of people that want to be down the middle. And my thing is if I'm calling the Callaway game, Callaway football, that's what we're calling it. I'm wearing one of these when I broadcast.
Right.
I'm going to call it how I see it for us.
Bottom line.
It's us and we.
Yeah.
And them.
Yeah.
And they.
That's it. That's it.
And, there's a lot of good play-by-play guys like Eli Gold for Alabama, Larry Munson for Georgia back in the day. It was us. You felt as a Georgia fan listening to Larry Munson that you were part of that game.
Yeah.
And that's how I try to do it for Callaway. I do it the best way I know how to. And I'm always learning. I am my biggest critic. I know one thing, and you know this, doing your show, is people have always got an opinion.
Always.
Right?
Man,
you should have done this.
Yeah.
You shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Well, I don't see you behind the mic. If it's that easy, why don't you come do it?
You come behind this thing.
And I'm my own biggest critic. I get the YouTube playback or NFHS. I'll go on and listen and be like, I wish I would have said that right there. Or, said something about the officiating maybe. Probably shouldn't have said that.
Yeah.
But you learn and critique just like the football players watch film. I watch film myself by listening to myself. And what I'll do is I don't do it all at once. I'll listen to a quarter each day. So I'll listen to a quarter, put it down, digest it, go on to the next day. So then when Thursday gets here, I kind of have an understanding of what I did well, what I didn't do well, and how to make the next broadcast good.
I like that. that. Man, I'm going to tell you something, man. I've broadcast one time, I'm going to be honest. Man, when I retired, I don't know if we got any proof of this, but I hope not, 'cause I bet it was horrible. But, man, when I retired from arena football, I did one game, I broadcast one game for the Columbus Lions. And, man, the only thing I can remember me saying was, he made a move in the phone booth. Some weird little,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I remember being, I was like, oh my God, how do I keep going?
Right.
You know what I mean? Because like I said, I had no prior warm-ups, nothing like that, man. So, man, my shots out to you, big dog. I definitely commend you on that. It's tough. It's tough, man.
It is.
It's tough.
It's a tough gig. It's not easy by any stretch because there's a lot of things that people don't see that you're balancing up there. Okay, you know, like, all right, you've got a cameraman. Okay, you're trying to make sure they're trying to make sure back at the station that the camera's synced up to what you're saying, everything's going well. But you got commercial breaks.
Yep.
You know, and what I've learned during commercial break, and it probably drives Coleman Weiss, the owner of Eagle 102.3 Nuts. Shout out to him too. Does a good job with that. Is I'm not a commercial breaks guy. As in, I'm not just going to take a break in the middle of the action.
Okay.
I'm going to feel the game out. So you understand, doing it for a long time, that when they score a touchdown and kick that extra point, you got 90 seconds to 2 minutes before that ball gets kicked off because it's going so fast.
Yeah,
right?
It's taking up,
If there's a turnover on the field, you can squeeze a 30-second commercial in. If there's an injury, most of the time you can get a 60-second commercial. You just feel that over time. You just naturally feel how long things take to do, right?
Wow.
But those are all the little things that people don't realize.
Yeah, they don't know all that stuff.
You got to put your spots in for your sponsors, right?
Yep.
But see, like me, I'm a little I'm not traditional in the way I do it. I try to feel the game out so our listeners don't lose any big plays. And I learned a lesson about that. There was a big play, I think it was in 2018, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember what game it was, and we missed a touchdown because I had gone on the thing, and I said, I don't want to ever miss a big play like that. You know, we're going to get all of our spots in, but I want to make sure that the spots fit into the game.
Right.
And that's what I try to do. You know, it's gone pretty well so far. Haven't had any complaints yet.
Right.
We get the spots in, but that's one thing people don't understand how hard that is feeling out the game and trying to sneak things in. And then like last year calling that state championship game where you have TV timeouts, that was different. I had to make an adjustment on the fly because I had my habits. So I had to look for the person in the red shirt and be like, when they go out there, that's when we go to break. And I had to make an adjustment on the fly there. So, but yeah, people don't understand how hard that is.
I didn't know that. That's big, though. So, Big Dog, let's talk about the run last year, man.
All right.
Man, you know, I want to get down and dirty with that one, Big Dog. How was it, man? From the inside, how was it, man? Because, look, from the outside, but I was super excited. So I can imagine how it was from the inside, man. Give it to me, man.
I'll tell you, I'll start out with a little humor, and I think everyone at Callaway would laugh and agree with me. Is if you saw our first practice, you'd be like, "We fixing to go 5-5."
Right.
We fixing to go 5-5, man. And
right.
And you know, you hear it all summer long. You don't have Tank anymore. You don't have Jacob Freeman or Tate Johnson or R.J. Williams or Anthony Elliott. All those guys that came before, great players. Right. Tank Bigsby, freshman of the year. I mean, so you came in with a lot of question marks, but people, I think, overlooked the leaders that came back, but I call it the meat and potatoes, right? Is we lost some skill guys, but we brought back dudes on the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
We brought back a senior quarterback who's the third-year starter.
Yeah.
You had a guy named Charlie Dixon who, quite frankly, could have started for any program in the state.
Oh, my gosh.
But he had to wait his turn, right?
Yep.
You don't see a lot of players that do that now.
No.
They wait their turn.
No.
And you have a kid named Jalen Shepard, who, in my opinion, was the best player in the county last year. Hands down, not even close.
Yes.
Yes. And the thing that team had, though, all season long was chemistry. And they played so well together. And nothing fazed them. You know, you start out week one against Troop. You know, you didn't get a scrimmage. Troop played the week before against Harris County, so, you know, they had lost, but at least they had gotten out there and played. And you come out and you play dominant defense, you run the football, you make big plays, and you win by 20 points, and you're like, man, that went well.
Right.
And then you go in, you had some issues against Hardway. Now, Hardway was a good ball team. We found that out later in the year, right? Had some really good players on that team, and battled some injuries in that game, and then you go on the road and play Douglas, and that was a tough game because you were playing in an empty stadium.
Man.
And that is the weird. And you talk about broadcasting, that is the hardest game I've ever broadcasted.
Really?
Because you have nowhere to get energy from.
None.
You have to bring your own energy, and then channel the plays around the field have to become bigger than they really are.
Okay.
It's like a 5-yard game. You got to call it like a 50-yard
Yeah,
run.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you got to make sure, because the fans back at home aren't going to feel that energy. That crowd makes it.
It changes it. Yeah.
And so the team did a great job. Douglas was a team that led us, I think it was 20-0 in the quarterfinals in 2019, the playoffs, and we went on to beat them, and we put a pretty good beating on Douglas. Was able to beat them 35-0 at their place, and then I think a lot of people asked me last year, when did you know that this could be a special team? And a lot of people, you think it's later. When we went and played Thomas County Central on the road, and we'd never played them before. They never played us. That game was scheduled at the last minute because of COVID. We were supposed to play Dothan and Opelika. That couldn't happen. You go down the road, 3-hour drive down to Thomasville, Georgia, and I don't know if Thomasville, Georgia likes Callaway very much right now.
I'm sure they don't.
The whole city, but
I'm sure they definitely don't.
We get down there, fantastic facilities. South Georgia football is different. I'm telling you, it's different. We think we got nice stuff here.
Different ball game.
It's different in South Georgia, man. It's a different kind of. It's almost like college down there. Everyone's walking around with their Thomas County Central, Thomasville shirts on. They aren't walking around with like Florida Gators stuff on. They're walking around with their high school stuff, and
they're bleeding it down now. Yeah.
We pull in the parking lot, and you see a huge poster of Charlie Ward, who went to Thomas. You're sitting there going, man, we in trouble. You could feel the tradition when you pulled in. You felt it. It felt big when you went down there. They were fantastic hosts. But that game was a tight ball game going into the fourth quarter, where we kept staying in it. We stayed in it. And then we were able to go down, and Demetrius hit Jalen Shepard with 4 or 5 seconds left in the game for the game-winning touchdown.
It was a big play.
And that right there showed me this team can handle anything. They're playing a 4A team, a traditional power in South Georgia on the road. Everything's going against you, and you find a way to win that game, right? And then you're going into a bye week, which was helpful, and that's the infamous bye week with Haralson County after the Bremen game, where the Haralson game got rescheduled.
Yeah.
But that Thomas County Central win, I think, did so much for the confidence of this team, because you go into the next week and you play Bremen with over 30 kids in quarantine, including Charlie Dixon.
Right.
And you beat them, it's 26-10 going into the last series of the game. And it's like, okay.
Oh, yeah, it's something going on here.
This team is playing
Yeah.
together. Haralson County, that was a strange day, man. Playing a game on a Tuesday night. They had a cell tower go out up there. So when you got up there, you couldn't even use your GPS, couldn't even find the school. Right?
Oh, man.
Trying to, can y'all shoot a flare up? Let me see where you're at. We pull in. It's kind of drizzling. It's raining a little bit. And it's one of those days where it's like the way they played and the way we played, they probably played their best game of the season, and we played our worst. But the thing is Haralson County that night probably could have beat pretty much anybody that played that day.
Right.
They played an excellent game.
Yeah.
We had 10 plays in the first half and turned the ball over 4 times. You can't do that and win the game. And
No.
but people focus more on us being down 22-0. They don't talk about the 29-15 run we went on to close the game out.
Right.
And it came down to the last possession. But I think that game right there too, you had a couple choices. You could go back and tuck your tail, feel sorry for yourself, or you had 3 days and you had to go back on the road and beat the best Temple team that they'd had in a long time, who was hungry. Because if they win that game, they're in the playoffs. They win that game, they're in the playoffs, and you're now Cavaliers. You're now a 3 seed going on the road for your playoffs, right? So you're going into the hornet's nest, or they're the tigers. So you're going into the jungle, right? You could feel it then. They wanted it. They had athletes. They had good players, and we came out and took care of business. Charlie Dixon had a huge game. Demetrius Coleman came out and it was night and day different.
Yep. And I want to say that too, man. That was a great bounce back game. You know what I'm saying? Because I agree, man. People didn't say anything about you guys second half against Harrison. Like nothing.
No.
I was thinking, well, oh Lord. But man, when you guys came back from Temple, it was ugly, man.
Well, there's a lot of guys that are in the media, up that they do a good job up there in the Carrollton area, but they want to talk about, well, that game wasn't close. I'm like, but it was.
Right. Right.
It was close at the end, and that showed us that no matter what, that you can, if you respond the right way, you can
Still got
take care of business.
Yeah. Right.
I think it also helped when you lost that game that you had 3 days to get right and get. How when you do something wrong or you're out here at Clockwork and you got a kid that might do a drill wrong or something, he can get right back in there and do it right. You don't have to. I think if we had
got time to settle in it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's how I felt it was for us. As we go back and we're just like, this ain't us.
Right.
Let's go take care of business. And we didn't turn the ball over. We ran the ball. We do what we do, and came out with a big win. And I think going into the Heard County game, there was that game had a lot of hype because Heard County, obviously it's a Pulpwood Classic.
Right.
There's no secret that we're rivals.
Yeah.
A lot of respect for Coach Barron. I know he's at Villa Rica now, but Coach Barron is one of the best coaches in the state, in my opinion. And they came in with a chance to win a region championship.
Right.
They just had to win. If we won, we needed some help, right? Shout out to Bremen.
Shout
out to y'all.
We
appreciate y'all doing that.
Show some love on that one.
But I think the Herd game really, I think that's where a lot of people said, oh no, they're rolling now.
Yep.
And we felt like we were rolling again. It felt like this is Callaway football. We're running the football. We're making explosive plays. Our athletes are playing well at the perimeter. Our defense is, and I think last year, kind of not to segue too much here, but I think people need to realize how good that defense was last year.
Gosh.
Dusty Hubbard is the best defensive coordinator that I know. Every year, that defense is always the strength of the team. Even if the offense is putting up 45 points a game, that defense is going to hold that other team to 10 or 15 points. And that's comforting. When you're at Haralson County, you're down. You're like, that defense is going to keep us in it. They're going to keep us in this game. And Dusty Hubbard, I mean, you got to think about in 2019, you had 2 starters return on defense from that 2018 team, and you go on and have one of the best statistical defenses in school history.
That's crazy.
That's
crazy.
Coach Giddens comes in, replaces Coach Matt Napier, who was an incredible offensive coordinator for us for a long time, and he had a great first year at LaGrange High School. He comes in, establishes his culture, the things he wants to do, and the offense, you have a senior quarterback, they don't miss a beat. They do. We run the football. That's what we do.
Right.
And,
ground and pound, baby.
Going into the playoffs, I think we had a lot of confidence. And I think a lot of people, we had that, don't remember this, our first game in the playoffs was a forfeit. Banks County had to forfeit because of COVID, right? I think a lot of our players and even some of our coaching staff we were a little like, we want to get out there and play.
Right.
Now you got to wait.
You got to wait again.
And I think that also helped in a way where most teams, you're losing guys as the season progresses with injuries, stuff like that. As the year went on for us, we got stronger. We had kids coming back from injury. We had kids coming back from quarantine.
Yep.
And you got to think COVID year. You never knew until Friday night. You get 2 hours before kickoff. You didn't know.
Yes.
And you're talking about your first playoff game is against Lovett. Lovett. We all know about Lovett. Coach Muschamp, one of the best coaches in the state of Georgia. We were praying that Will Muschamp, his brother, he won at South Carolina anymore. We went out there helping him game plan for us. We were sitting there going like, is he over there? Did he get off the bus?
Right.
And I'll tell you, the whole playoff run, that team impressed me the most. They weren't as athletically talented as the other teams we played in the playoffs, but they were the most fundamentally sound team.
Man,
they run a unique defense. They run that 3-5 or a 3-5 defense, it's unique. They give you different looks on defense. They're very fundamentally sound, and in that game, our defense was able to force them to do things they weren't comfortable doing.
Yeah.
They ended up throwing 4 interceptions in that game that won us the game. But people talking about there's moments all through the year where that defense was backed up and they made that play that kept us in it. You know, Cam Smith, love it, driving opening drive down the field, picks it off in the end zone. And he did the same thing to Fitzgerald in that opening drive in the state championship. It changed the game. You know, that game, you're playing Lovett, back and forth, low-scoring defensive game. Where you're able to punch it in with Charlie Dixon at the end of the game, and then Jalen Shepard intercepts the ball, and that was one of my favorite radio calls. He intercepted the ball, and you're like, we're going on to the. You're sitting there going, we're going to Sweet 16.
Yeah.
Like, no, we're going to the quarterfinals. Yeah. You know, because this is the second round.
You're like, what the world? Yes.
So we're sitting there going, man, this is crazy. And then you see, man, we're playing Thomasville. Thomasville, same place as Thomas County Central. They're just the 2A team. Tradition. You know, you want to talk about like LaGrange High's got their tradition. They've got. Thomasville's got the same tradition. Yeah. They've been around for 100 years. They've won state championships. They've won region titles.
Yes.
And they're coming to our house. And all you hear all week is Thomasville. And we're sitting there going, man, this is the real deal. These guys are the real deal, but I think people don't realize we're the real deal too. We came out, got on them early. They made a run like good teams do. And you want to talk about athletes, and this is just my opinion. I'm not going to speak for the coaching staff here, but from the booth, I felt Thomasville was the most athletic team we played in the playoffs.
Really?
100%.
Okay. All right.
100%.
Tell me more. Why you feel that, though?
I felt offensively, they had dudes on the outside.
Okay.
Their quarterback, had consistency at quarterback. Now, I know we're going to get into Gunner Stockton in a second.
Right.
But Ronnie Baker, their quarterback, dual threat kid, he had multiple targets on the outside. Big offensive line, big physical defense. They just looked the part to me. They looked like a championship team to me coming off the bus.
Right.
I felt they were more consistent. You could tell they wanted to run the football, but you could just tell they also had this confidence and swagger to them. It wasn't arrogance.
Right.
It was like they walked off the bus and said, "We fixing to win," right? But we walked off the bus the same way. We fixing to win.
We finna win. Yeah.
You know? And once again, defense intercepts 3 more passes. You know, you make some plays. Charlie Dixon has that 97-yard TD, and it kind of puts the game on ice. You get the pick 6 later on, and you're moving on to the semifinals, and you're sitting there going back to after you beat Thomasville, you're like, man, we beat these guys. And you're going, man, we're going right back to the genesis of this season. Yeah. Is everyone remember 2019, how that felt, losing on their home field to Brooks County?
Oh, my gosh.
You felt like you could have and should have won that game. It just didn't go your way.
Right.
And now you're back. All the seniors, their goal was to get back to that moment in redemption.
And you there.
We're back at the same place.
Yeah.
The same stadium, our stadium, right? And we go out. You know, you're playing Raven County. Here we go. You're playing Gunner Stockton, #1 dual threat quarterback of the class of 22.
Talk of the town.
Great player. They have a really good receiver, Adriel Clark. He set the state record for TD catches. He's a dude.
Right.
And you're sitting on if we're going to go to a state championship game, we're going to have to go through this guy.
Bottom line.
And I think that helped motivate the team because you heard that all week. Gunner Stockton. And you know, a lot of people show the highlight, but I don't see him showing that one highlight of his game when they played us in the semifinals.
Oh, they don't show that too much now.
You know, his second or third pass was a pick 6.
Right.
I think the official stat line is he had like 5 completions. 5 completions, 6. It's on max perhaps. I'm not 100% sure, but it wasn't a good day. Had 100 yards passing. Clark did catch a TD, which he had done all year. And that game was kind of the same way as we jumped on them. They made a run, and then we just put our foot down.
Turnovers were big for y'all, man.
Well, the thing is, going into the title game, I think we had intercepted 10 or 11 passes going into the Fitzgerald game.
Secondary was clocked
in the playoffs,
boy.
That didn't include the regular season.
Right.
You know, you had 2 corners, Jalen Shepard and Osiris Rivas, who I feel like don't get enough credit.
Man.
They could go man up on anybody.
Yeah.
Anybody. You know, you think about some of the receivers they've matched up against all year long, and you know, seeing them succeed, you know, and then you have a really good safety in Cam Smith back there who
he was playing big, man.
He's a big guy, you know, and he can come up and hit you in the run game.
Yep.
He can make plays in the passing game.
Yep.
And that game was surreal playing Rabun County because I could feel my heart beating out of my chest. All right, when we went up, I think Sam Williams had caught a long TD. It was like 27-10. And I'm sitting there going, okay, we got a lead on these guys.
Yeah.
But they've got Gunner Stockton. And my partner, Chris, is over here. He's fired up. And I'm like, we need more points.
Right.
That's all I'm thinking about.
Right.
We need more
Score
points.
more.
Because this kid's fixing to go off and do what he does.
Mm-hmm.
And we stop him and score again.
Yeah.
I'm still thinking,
Right.
we got to score more points. I never finally relaxed in that game until Charlie had that, I think, a 60-yard run towards the end. It kind of made it, I think it was 41-10 at that point. And I finally allowed myself to enjoy the
just
moment.
breathe for a
And
second.
I'm like, we did it. We're going to the championship game.
Oh, my
We're
gosh.
going to we're going to the championship game. We had gotten over that hump that everyone had talked about.
For a year, everybody saying yes.
Exhausted. You know, the thing is, too, is when people are no longer satisfied with semifinals, region championships, you know you've built a consistent program.
Right.
They're just waiting
Right.
for that one big win.
That's
right?
all they want. Yeah.
And, you know, we ended up going to the state title game, obviously at Georgia State. You get in there, you're like, man, this is crazy. We're here.
Right.
Like, this is us. We're like, you see on GPB Sports, like, there's Coach Wiggins getting interviewed. You know,
It
you're
was
just like,
crazy, dog. I'm not going to lie.
you know, it was
That
surreal.
was
You know,
crazy.
I was going to ask you this on, you know, this is your interview, but I was going to interview you for a second here.
Yeah.
You were a fan at the game.
Yeah.
How did it feel from the stands for y'all?
Man, I'm going to tell you something, man. The energy was crazy. It was crazy, man. Then the also big dog. Let me tell you something, man. I felt the whole city was there.
I did too.
I felt the whole. I was looking around and saw people who, like, of course, I'm from Hurd County, man, but I knew people from Hogansville.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, you here? You here?
Yeah.
So just to see that, man,
Yeah.
that was crazy.
It was, man. And I watched it. I obviously was up in the radio booth and just being up there, being in that kind of press box, you're like, man, this is state of the art. You got TVs up there with you so you can help you call the game and everything. And we're sitting there and they're driving down the field. You know, you're nervous, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of that feeling where you're happy to be there, but you're like, but I really want to win this.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because we saw how hard it was to get there.
Just to get there.
It's like, let's not stop. Let's keep this going. And Fitzgerald's a team we had played the year before. A lot of the same kids were back for both teams, so we were familiar with each other.
Right.
Once again, everyone liked Fitzgerald, rightfully so. They had played an incredibly tough schedule. They beat Irwin County, who was the Class Single A state champions, and I believe they beat another top 5 team as well in 3A. But you're sitting there and they're driving down the field. You're like, oh no,
Right.
because they did that same thing to us last year. It's like they held the ball, scored, and then they get the ball back, hold the ball, and next thing you know, it's halftime and you're down 14-0.
But see, but I'm gonna tell you something, big dog. But I was telling everybody, I said, man, only thing about Fitzgerald is their offense is not designed to come from behind.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? So I knew you guys, if you guys get ahead, it's gonna be tough because again, the kind of offense they got, you know what I mean? They got a whole lot of trickery plays, but you know what I mean? I don't think they got a fast-paced offense.
Right.
If it makes sense.
They
to
were
you.
a methodical team.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
kind of like playing a triple option team. Is they know what they are. They're going to
Right.
try to run the ball,
Right.
score, get you to make a mistake trying to score with them.
Yeah.
Because you ain't got much time left, and then they get the ball back and do the same thing to you, right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
so that's one of those games where you knew maybe you weren't going to have as many possessions as
Mm-hmm.
you normally would. So you got to make them count. They go down the field. They line up. They put number 3 Chance Gamble. Great player. I give a shout out to his dad, Coach Gamble at Fitzgerald, their defensive coordinator.
Okay.
I've got to know him a little bit over the past couple months. Great guy. Chance is a great football player. He's going to Kennesaw State.
Oh, that's what's up.
But Chance was like their Swiss Army knife.
Oh, man.
He played quarterback, running back,
He was all over the
receiver,
place. Yeah,
punt
yeah.
return.
Yeah. I remember
You
that
know,
kid. Yep.
He probably played offensive tackle during the game. I never saw
Right.
it. But
Right.
when he lined up in the backfield for the first time, we're like,
Uh-oh.
oh, they're fixing to run a trick play. And when we read it and picked it off, you could see their whole sideline just.
One of those. Yeah.
So then we come out and able to get a safety early on off of a great punt by Jalen Shepard.
Mm-hmm.
And you get a safety to start the game. So their first drive doesn't end in points. Their second drive ends in a safety, right? And you're kind of humming at that point. And then you get the ball back. You're able to drive down, and then Coleman hits a beautiful pass to Carlos Billingsley, and one of the better passes I've ever seen him throw, pass and catch. And you go up 8-zip, just like that, and you're just sitting there going, okay, let's win this.
Right.
Let's win this. And that's actually funny that there was a kid at Callaway Elementary School that put a little picture in our indoor. They colored these little pictures for the team, and we put them up in our indoor facility. And on his little drawing, it said, let's win this. So we coined that phrase, the team. We coined that phrase.
I like that.
Let's win this.
Yeah. And
that's kind of what we felt like after that catch. It's like, let's win this.
Right.
You know, and then I'll tell you the call of the year, though, shout out to Zach Giddens. Dude's one of my closest friends. I love that guy. Going for it there with 5 seconds left in the half. Most coaches would settle for the field goal.
I'm about to say, kick that field goal and get out.
Zach runs a quarterback. And here's the thing. If Coleman's tackled inbounds short, halftime, it's over. And based on how the game, you might lose that game.
Right.
Not only does he get the 5 yards he scores with no time left, you get the extra point. You're up 15-3. Going into halftime. And you're sitting there going,
what the what?
This is crazy.
Yes.
This is crazy.
Yes.
We are executing. We are playing our game. We're doing what we got to do. And you go into the second half. Fitzgerald makes a run. Our defense makes a bunch of plays in that second half. Charlie Dixon probably with the run of his career.
Oh my God, that was a big boy run.
To seal it was the same play that we ran to beat Thomasville. If you see it on film, it's the exact same play, and it's crazy when we were calling that game from home plate because we were at Turner Field, right?
Yeah.
So my viewpoint, like, I'm looking this way, but the football field is this way. So I'm catty cornered, right?
Yeah.
But when I see Dixon bust past that first, I'm like, he's gone. And we're losing it in the radio booth. We're going. And then I'm sitting there, and then Fitzgerald comes right back, scores. And I'm sitting there going, oh, no, I jinxed us. Because I think I had said something about that might be like the nail in the coffin or something.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, this is going to come back and haunt me.
Yeah.
And then, just like they had all season, the defense comes out. And last play of the game, I thought it was not more fitting to have Jalen Shepard pick off the last play, and you're champions.
You champions.
And you know what's crazy? It didn't sink in till we got back to LaGrange, to Hogan.
Really, man?
Yeah. It didn't sink in. Like, you're just happy you won the game.
Right.
Right? Go through Hogansville on the way home, seeing how much it meant to that city. Go back to Callaway, and you walking in, you see Coach Wiggins with that trophy with the, it takes a lot to make Coach Wiggins smile. Now. He's serious.
Right.
And that's why I love him. He's serious, but he's walking that
smile.
You could get that smile off his face. And he's sitting there, he walks in, and I'm just sitting there, and I'm not the most emotional person, but I got a little emotional thinking about that because I had played there for that man, for Coach Hubbard. Coach Giddens' daddy was there when I was
crazy,
there.
dog.
Coach Claude Giddens, shout out to him too.
Yeah.
Love him too. And it just was like, it was crazy, man, just seeing the whole it was like, it was the one thing in 2020 that felt normal.
Right.
Everything else, you go, hey, babe, I'm going to go get some food. Let me put on all my stuff to
Yeah.
go get food, right?
Let me gear up for the food. Yeah.
But if we were in there, it just felt for one day.
Felt normal.
It felt normal. And it was a heck of a run, and I felt it was something that it was so fun to see a team make a goal and achieve it. Man. But it wasn't like they steamrolled to it. They had to overcome adversities as a team along the way.
In order to get there, yeah.
And there's no doubt there was moments of doubt that crept in. You got 33 kids in quarantine. I don't know if we can win this. I'm down 22-0.
That's crazy.
We're playing love it. Here's the thing too. I talked to a guy from the AJC, and he said we had one of the toughest roads to a state title in the history of Class 2A.
Get out of here.
People forget we were preseason number 1, but then when we lost to Haralson County, it's like we didn't exist no more. We got dropped down to 9 or 10, which I think is disrespectful to Haralson County because our whole region. I'll talk about that for a second. Temple, Hurd, Harrelson, Bremen, they were all ranked at one
I'm about to
point.
say it's all ranked.
That's the toughest region in Class 2A, in my opinion. And great teams. Bremen, Harrelson County is a great team. Temple, Hurd County, obviously. They'd won a state title a couple years before. But going into playoffs, you're playing basically the fourth, the third, the second, and the number one teams in the state.
Bro.
Back to back to
That's
back
a tough
to back.
road. That's a tough road, man.
You just went through the gauntlet. You went through. There was no doubt at the, and that's what made it so satisfying when you got the end. Is that we beat teams that are always here.
Yeah.
Think about Lovett. They're always in the playoffs. One of the best teams in the state.
Yeah.
Fitzgerald, same thing. Thomasville. They've been around for 100 years. Rabun County. They've been one of the best teams in the state for the past 3 or 4 years. You know, and that run just felt so special.
Yeah.
Because you went from being a favorite to everyone counting you out when the season started. Is you lost, you don't have Tank, you can't win, you don't have Tank. It's like, that's fine.
Right.
We'll prove you wrong.
Put it together.
You know?
Put it together.
It was a special run, man. And it was a pleasure and a privilege to be a part of it, and it's definitely something I'll never forget.
Right.
You know.
Right.
And there's times I got that game saved on my DVR. Just
For real,
I'll just go back and
go back and watch that.
Go back and watch it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you one thing though, Kane. I have yet to go back and listen to the broadcast.
Why?
I'm afraid. I don't know. I'm not afraid of the broadcast per se, but it's more of a. It's one of those moments where I kind of just want it to be a memory to me. Like it's not something where it becomes. I overanalyze that. I just want to, if I made a mistake in the broadcast, I don't want to analyze that. I just wanted to enjoy that broadcast and not go back and critique it.
And critique that thing.
And I'm afraid if I go back and listen to it, I'm going to start critiquing and not enjoying.
Yeah, yeah. But I'm going to tell you something, man. When it comes to a championship run, and I always have said this, man. You know what I'm saying? When you catch that vibe at the right time, there's no stopping that. You guys, I'm going to be like I said, when I was on the outside watching this thing, man, I saw you guys catching that vibe. I saw it, man. I saw it. I said, boy, you know what? I think we're going to win this thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you guys caught it at the right time. I'm going to tell you what it reminded me of, man. It reminded me of that year that Green Bay won that championship. The Super Bowl.
Yeah.
At the right time, they caught it.
Yeah.
And they started, knocking out people who did say, dang, y'all beat those. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? So
they were beating Blue Bloods.
You feel me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, again, I enjoyed it, big dog. I enjoyed it. And, like I said, and shouts out to Wings, but I know, like I said, he finally had that smile, man. Time, you know what I'm saying, Georgia fan, college fan, man.
Yeah.
And man, you know I'm about to ask you, man, you know what I'm saying, NIL. I mean, NIL is going on right now.
Yeah.
Man, give me your input on that. You know what I mean, to what you think.
Okay. So in recruiting, and we had obviously broadcasting. We talked about it for a while. That's part of my job.
Yeah.
Another part of what I do for the team is I handle the college recruiting for our kids.
Right.
Obviously we got a lot of talented kids, and I tell you, I picked a hell of a time to get into this.
Right.
Recruiting has changed. Everything I was taught coming into it is no longer true.
It's different now, brother.
From between COVID and now this NIL.
Mm-hmm. Then let me break you up, but the transfer portal,
and I'll touch on those because I think we could also be able to share some things. Things I tell our players, but I'm sure Troop, LaGrange, everybody, I'm sure they're telling their kids the exact same thing. But the thing is, too, with this NIL, man, is everybody's getting caught up. I'm seeing everybody with logos, all this stuff. And it's like, I'm not trying to burst your bubble, but unless you're like
the man,
no one cares about your logo.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Everyone thinks that now, I'm going to make
millions
of dollars. And at the end of the day, is you have the right to. You're not going to get in trouble for that, but is there a market for you to do that?
That's the thing.
I feel like you're going to see like maybe 1% of players truly make money off this. When I say truly, like think about this. If you're a college kid and someone gives you $10,000 for, to go eat a bag of crystals. We talked about this on Facebook. Right. So you go eat a bag of crystals and hold your, plug crystals.
Yeah.
Here's 10,000, and I'm just throwing a number out.
Right.
Okay. That's less than $1,000 a month.
Yeah.
Okay. You go buy two pairs of shoes and a couple of nights out with the friends, and how far that goes now.
Man, it can go quick.
And I think kids they need to be careful with a couple things. It's who do you let in your circle? Make sure no one's trying to take advantage of you.
Right.
But also, you need to make sure that you're talking to people that understand taxes, understand, what a 1099 is, who understand this stuff, investments, so you don't get caught up in things that you don't intend to. Because these are 18-year-old kids who don't understand taxes.
Right.
They understand they pay tax when they go buy Snickers at the gas station, but they don't understand, taxable income. And those are things where I think as this becomes more popular, that colleges need to you'll see them start hiring people that are finance people, so they can have people available for these kids, so they're making sure they're not being taken advantage of. But I don't really think you're going to see a lot of change as far as the college product. I just think you're going to see the same teams are going to be good,
right,
as usual. But the thing is now you're going to see Trevor Lawrence on a box of Wheaties. You know what I'm saying? Or you're going to see Justin Fields with a Nike, deal or something like that.
Right.
But the thing is what Trevor Lawrence gets isn't what the third string left tackle is going to get at Arkansas State.
Yeah.
I hate it for you, but that's the truth of the matter. Is I don't want kids to get caught up in this or focus on that.
Right.
Keep the main thing. And, we talk about Georgia. Kirby Smart always says that is make sure you do what you need to do to get your degree, and do everything you need to do to graduate. Or if you want to go to the NFL, go to the NFL.
Right.
But if you got that degree, don't worry about 4 years of NIL.
Right.
Let's worry about the next 40 years with that degree.
Your life, yeah. It's so. And now I'm gonna tell you something in terms of recruiting, big dog. I'm gonna tell you why I think it's gonna affect the recruiting there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To where now the boosters. So I think boosters now going to get more involved with recruiting now.
Mm-hmm.
To where last year, if you give a kid, like take Tennessee for example. They got caught with the McDonald's bags full of money.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So now, man, you got kids who you got boosters now who can legally give it to them. I think that's gonna challenge recruiting then, because now, like for example, somebody had mentioned Miami Hurricane, where Bruce said they're gonna give a kid $6,000, gonna get everybody. I don't know if you saw that.
It said so they were going to take 600. I did the math on this.
Okay.
I think it was $640,000.
Okay.
And they were going to split that with 84 scholarship kids or something like that. And I did the math. Well, that's what we just talked about. Is that $7,600? Mm-hmm. How long is that really going to last?
How long they going to last?
Because everyone's a baller on tax day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just
now. Is that monthly or that just one spot?
That's one payment.
Yeah.
So because if you split that. If they're giving $640,000 to each kid, more power to you.
Right.
But you know what I'm saying?
Right.
I got some eligibility left. I'm fixing to go down there.
You think you can go back in that thing, man.
But I think it's going to, selfishly, we get the NCAA football game back, which I'm happy about. I'm sure you played that game too.
Heck yeah.
I think that, the big thing is we just need to make sure as coaching staffs, and we got 3 really good coaching staffs in this community at Troop and LaGrange and at Callaway, and they do a good job being transparent with their kids about recruiting, is just making sure that with this NIL, don't get caught up in the wrong stuff with it. Right. Okay? Because that doesn't change the fact that you still got to make the grades.
So you got to do that.
You can get paid, and here's things too that kids need to think about too. The questions I've asked is, okay, let's say a booster wants to pay you, let's say to work, to rep one of his Mercedes-Benz at his Mercedes dealership, right? Is that a 4-year deal or is that a year by year? Because you got some of these, you think about some of these kids, think of the kids who don't pan out. We won't say any names, but if the kid don't pan out, are you going to want to invest as a person giving your money to that kid for 4 years? Or is it going to be a year-to-year thing?
9 times out of 10, it's going to be a year-to-year, simply because of that.
And those are questions that you've got to think about.
Yep.
And we all remember when we were 18 years old. probably weren't the best age to be making decisions like
Right,
that. Because
right.
you just don't know what you don't know.
You just don't know, yeah.
And the biggest thing is just, I think there's so much coming up right now with it. There's so many unknowns. There's a lot of things I'm learning on it every day. Is make sure that you read up on everything. You posted something the other day I thought was great. I shared it with everybody about this could impact Pell Grants.
Right.
This could impact financial aid.
Yes.
This could make it where schools could say, okay, you're getting $600,000 to come here. Well, you could be a preferred walk-on. We ain't going to give scholarship money to you. You can pay for your school.
Right.
You know?
And see the thing about it, man. And so that's what parents got to get educated on.
Yeah.
You know, so to make sure that their kid don't fall into that, because at the end of the day, I believe, you know, NCAA go find a way to win in this situation. I mean, it just.
Yeah, and you've already seen a lot of schools come out and have rules of,
Right.
you know, you're not going to do signings on game day. You're not going to wear your personal brands on game day. You're not going to, but you're free to do it outside of it.
Right.
Which, you know, I don't see a problem with that.
Right.
I think it's a happy medium. You
Got to
know?
police it somewhere.
You got to police it a little bit, because
Yeah.
if it's a free for all, then you might as well just let kids go to the NFL after high school.
Right.
You know, and just don't even
Right.
have college football.
Right.
But I think there's a lot of things, you know, with parents. Keep doing your research on it is all I can say. Stay vigilant in what you see. There's a lot of things that are coming up now that are just changing the game and recruiting. You know, I'll dive back. You know, we talked NIL. I'll dive in here to transfer portal, to COVID. You know, I get a lot of questions about this, about how does COVID impacted recruiting. I talk to college coaches all day. I've had a couple of prominent coaches tell me that you got to think with COVID, every kid last year at NCAA got an extra year. Okay? So a lot of those kids ain't leaving.
They're still there.
They're still there.
Yep.
So guess what? There is no spots for you in high
Yep.
school, right? I think we saw that last year with recruiting across the board. There's some kids from our program I felt could have signed with a larger program that simply couldn't because there's no room.
Because of those spots, yeah.
It wasn't because they weren't good enough. It's because there was no room, right? And then now, because you got the transfer portal, you got a kid that leaves Alabama. Well, Troy's going to grab that guy.
Yes.
Or Jacksonville State's going to grab that guy.
Yes.
Or UAB. They're going to grab that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what that costs? That costs a high school kid a spot.
Cost him a spot, yep.
Okay? Those are the things that you got to think about. So now, recruiting is so competitive. I will quote a Division I defensive coordinator told me this the other day on the phone. He said, Coach, we are saving up to 40% of our roster spots going forward for transfer portal kids. So if you can sign 25 kids, guess what? That means you got 12 or 13 spots for a high school kid, which guess what that means? They're now going to save those spots for the best candidates.
Well, I was about to say this too. Man, at the end of the day, they're going to save it because everybody's in a win-now situation.
You've got to. And he said this too. I'm coaching for my job every Saturday.
There we go.
So why am I going to take a high school kid that is good, or I can take this proven kid from Georgia Tech that I know can play safety.
He's a junior.
Yeah. And I'm going to take him.
Yeah.
And right now, there's more kids in the transfer portal than there are open spots on rosters. So you got to think about it before you get in that thing.
Yep.
And that's, you see a lot of these kids, I understand quarterbacks are different because there's only one ball.
Right.
But if you're, you got to really, if you're a running back, receiver, tight end, corner, whatever, you got to really think, is it worth it when I get in that portal?
Mm-hmm.
Now you're instantly eligible now one time when you transfer, but a program has to want you.
That's the thing
You know what
about
I'm
it.
saying?
That's the thing about it right there. If a program gonna want them.
Yes, and that's the thing I try to tell with our kids right now is recruiting is so competitive now. Whereas in the past, you might have a kid who's a good player, good locker room guy, and I'll just use this as an example. Let's say Auburn. It's like, good kid, he's got the size I'm looking for, maybe not the most talented, but he's a good kid. I'm going to bring him in as a project. Those are no longer, that's done. Because now, if you've got, and I'm just using them as an example, Auburn, 10% of their scholarships, 20, 30% of their spots are going to transfer portal kids. You've just flushed out any borderline high school kid.
Yep.
You've got to be a bona fide star before they're going to offer you.
So let me ask you this, man. Now, do you think that's going to help JUCOs?
Yes. Yes. Mm-hmm. I think it's going to help JUCOs. I think, here's the thing, it's going to benefit the lower program.
Right.
So you think, okay, University of West Georgia, who'd they just sign? Jalen Shepherd. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Really good football player.
Right.
Teams like that are going to benefit from this because everything naturally is going to go down a peg.
Has to.
Has no choice because those kids that were getting these transfer portal spots, they're now going to transfer. They're now going down a notch.
Yeah, right.
So your West Georgias, your Valdosta States, your Berries, LaGrange Colleges, et cetera, they're all going to benefit from this. Yep. You're going to see a lot of really talented kids. You're like, oh, that kid's going SEC playing D2 ball. Mm-hmm. And this is what it is right now. And here's the thing that I try to tell kids is there are so many great programs out here. You know, you don't have to, just because you don't go D1 don't mean you didn't make it.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
We got a really good Division II program right up the street at West Georgia.
Yep.
We got one of the best D2 programs in the country down in Valdosta.
Right.
Historically. You know? There's a lot of programs around. Kennesaw State, really good program. Georgia State, really good program. They're going to start getting these kids that thought they were going to go to Georgia, Georgia Tech, or Georgia Southern. You know, and that's the thing as high school recruiting coordinators is we just have to figure out how to adjust to this new normal. Yeah. And I hate that slogan. I hate the new normal thing.
Right.
But it really is. Recruiting is gone are the days of just offering a kid.
Yep.
They're not offering you unless you are a bona fide star, right? They're not going to.
That's true.
And look at this. Look how many kids in our area that are really good players but probably don't have offers yet in our own community.
Right.
2 years ago, we'd probably have a dozen kids with 3 or 4 or 5 offers right now.
Right.
Offers are just not given out how they used to be now. Is they're checking, think of D2. D2 doesn't have 80-something scholarships. They've got, no one's on full ride at D2.
Right.
If you think about it.
Right.
So they're anticipating you having hope. So your grades matter. You know, can you get Pell? Can you get other financial aid? So we can build you a package.
I didn't hope to get you in for free.
Yes. You know, the thing is going to school and paying $2,000 a year out of pocket on a student loan to go play football, but you're going to get a 4-year education for $8,000. You're already ahead of most people that go to school.
Right.
You're still blessed.
Yeah.
You know, you still I'm blessed to receive it. You're blessed to be in that position.
Yep.
If someone's willing to give you money to go to school, not everyone's going to get a full ride. You know, and
if you can get anything off that thing, brother.
Exactly. You know, it's like me when I went to school. I had hope. It helped pay for school. It took a huge burden off of me having to pay back student loans. There's other people that they go to school, they don't have hope, they don't have any type of grants, and they're in $100,000 worth of debt when they graduate.
Yep.
You know, those are conversations to have with our kids too. Is student loans are real. You've got to pay these back.
You got to pay them things back, man.
You know, I'm living it right now.
Yeah.
You got to pay them back
now.
You know, and that's what I try to always be with our kids is try to be as honest as I can with them.
Good deal.
And understanding that a lot of work goes in behind the scenes. I'm sure Coach Glisson at Troop or Coach Napier or Coach Thomas at LaGrange would agree. Is there's so much work that goes on behind the scenes with recruiting. The text messages, the calling, the emails, the Twitter DMs.
Man, that's a nonstop job, dog.
It's nonstop. And I'll give out some free advice here.
Yeah.
If you're a high school player, it's like I tell our kids, pick out some programs that interest you. Does that mean they're going to call you? No, it don't mean it. But pick out some programs that interest you. Big, smaller, little, across the board. Have a broad spectrum. Figure out who coaches your position at those schools. Go follow them on Twitter. Send them your film. Send them your stuff. I do that stuff, but the thing is I tell the players is you also have to you have to have some skin in the game.
Right.
Is you can't I can't get every kid an offer. Right? I want to. I'm working like crazy for all the kids. But if you're just sitting in the shadows not putting in the work too, it ain't gonna work.
It's not gonna work.
No. is you got to get out there and market yourself on social media. You got to go and follow these coaches of these schools that you want to play for. If I'm a quarterback, I'm going to go figure out who the quarterback coach is at Troy. And I'm going to follow him on Twitter.
Follow him on Twitter.
Yeah. Try to get in that DMs. You know, hey, coach, I'm here. Hey, coach, here's my film. Here, coach, I'm interested. You know, make them turn you away.
Makes sense. I mean, but see, now, that's the groundwork that a lot of kids don't want to do.
They don't want to. They want someone else to do it for them.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
And that's the thing.
But you got to be your best. I mean, in the end of the day, man, you got to be your own salesman.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, and it goes into real life is everyone, it's easier to have someone to blame, right? It's easier to say, well, he told me that's what I needed to do. It didn't work, so I'm going to blame him, right? And you see that in the business world.
Always.
You see that, is kids have to understand is you control your own destiny.
Yeah.
If you don't go to class and make the grades, I can't help you. If you don't make the test score, I can't help you. If you don't perform on Friday nights, I can't help you.
Maybe you can do.
So you've got to have skin in the game. If you need to gain weight, you need to gain weight. If you need to lose weight, you need to lose weight, right? If you need to get stronger, you need to lift weights, right? If you need to get faster, you need to work on your speed, right? Come here to the dungeon.
Nobody said, man, come holler at me,
free
man.
advertisement.
come
you need
to
to get
the
faster,
dungeon, baby.
The dungeon. His face is right behind me.
You see him.
See that? But
right.
Those are the things. Is the only thing you can't control that a lot of colleges like is how tall you are. But guess what? No one can control that.
Right.
That's up to God.
That's up to God on that.
That's up to God.
That's up to God, man. Real talk. Real talk.
But the kids have to understand is your coaches are working their butts off for you. But there are things that you can do. And I've made PowerPoint presentations for the kids, for our parents. And a lot of our parents have done a really good job with this. They ask me really good questions. You know, and it makes me happy that our parents are engaged with this.
Yeah.
What do I need to do with this?
Yeah.
What's your opinion on this? Hey, I can't find this guy. Can you send me his Twitter handle? Sure. I haven't got no problem, especially if you've shown me you're trying.
And show some initiative, yeah.
You know, going to camps. I ain't going to take every kid to a camp.
Right.
I just don't have that kind of. There ain't 10 of me. I can't do it.
Right.
Right. You know, if you want to go visit a school, go visit a school.
Go make it happen.
You know, there's so many things that you can do for yourself to help market yourself. You know, look at your business. You built this from the ground up.
Yes, sir.
And guess what? You market yourself very well.
Appreciate it, man.
That's what kids have to say.
Right.
Is, okay, look what Kane does.
Right.
He markets himself on social media. All right. He puts his name out there. He puts a good product out there. People trust you. Right. You have proven results.
Yeah.
You know, you don't just say, "Hey, show up here,"
man,
and you
see
sit in this office while they're out there just lifting weights. Right.
Right.
You actually go out there and put you got
dirty.
some skin in the game.
Yeah.
And that's what. And I'm sorry when I'm on this soapbox,
No,
but
you're good.
So many kids have got to understand it. You've got to work too. Yeah. You've got to want to do it. If you're a freshman and you're not playing, work hard so when you're a sophomore you're playing. You know, but also understand there's a lot of freshmen that don't play. You know,
and that's the hardest thing that I think parents had to realize that everybody don't play as a freshman. You got to be special.
Yeah.
Play as a freshman.
I've only seen a few kids play as freshmen. I'll speak for Callaway. You're talking about Quan Bray. You're talking about, Terry Godwin. You know, Keandre Jones.
Right.
You know, special players.
Right.
It takes a special kid to start as a freshman.
freshman,
But
dog.
the thing is it's like with me. I didn't start on varsity playing baseball until I was a junior. I was smaller. I had to lift. I had to get my arms stronger. I had to improve. And I just went back to the lab. 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade, and then I got my opportunity.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of kids, you live in a world where you can just pull up your phone and get an answer. You know, you can binge watch your favorite TV show. It ain't old school. Like you used to wait till Monday night.
Man.
You got to wait a whole week.
Not now, yeah.
And kids want everything now. You know, it's tough. It's tough. You know, it's talking about, people sometimes don't want to be part of the grind. You know, they don't want to be at practice, but they want to be there on Friday night.
Right.
That's not how this works.
Well, I mean, brother, this is why I say what I say. Fame is free, but the grind costs.
I was about to say your slogan.
Yeah, but that's what it is. Everybody want the fame of it, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that grind, that part costs, man.
And I'll say this, there's a lot of kids that do a great job.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Across the board, I see it all over the state.
Right.
You know, and the thing is just keep promoting yourself. Make sure, that if you know, our kids know this. Anytime you got a question, I'm a phone call away.
Yeah.
I'll do what I can for you. Right? Am I always going to tell you what you want to hear? No, I'm not. But I feel like it's my job to be honest with where they stand.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm just going to tell you the truth. Sometimes the truth hurts. Right?
I got to give it to you, though.
You know?
Yeah.
It's like this. I work in sales for a living. Not everyone's going to buy something from me.
Right.
But if I hang my head about it every time, I'm not going to be very good at selling.
Right.
You know?
It's a numbers game, baby.
You know, you got to just keep moving on and learn, right?
Wow, I dig it.
There's, parents, keep doing your thing. You've got 3 really good coaching staffs here in this town that care about their kids, care about their players. They'll do anything for you. You know, if you're at LaGrange, talk to Coach Napier, talk to Coach Thomas. You know, if you're at Troop, talk to Coach Glisson. If you're at Callaway, talk to Coach Wiggins, talk to me.
Right.
You know, we want what's best for you. But at the same time, there's only so much we can do. You've got to be willing to put in the work too.
Extra stuff.
Yeah.
I dig that, man. I dig that. Drew, man, I appreciate you coming in this thing, man.
It's no problem.
Man, you already know it's not gonna be your last time, big dog.
I appreciate it.
I mean, cause you about to get busy here soon, like sure enough busy, man. But I gotta have you back in here, man. Talk some more football with me, man.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Perfect, man. Yo, man. So at the end of every show, man, I always, you know what I'm saying, want my guests to lead the people with something positive. You know what I mean? So. It's your opportunity, big dog. Give them something.
Leave with something positive.
Yeah.
Is like we just said on here. Is if you want something, go get it.
Oh,
The only thing holding you back is yourself. You know. I'll give you a personal thing with me. I'm trying to get back in shape.
Yeah.
Guess who's my biggest, worst enemy is myself. Is you got to want to get up and get after it. Right?
Yeah.
So if you want something, all you got to do is get up and get after it.
Get up and get it. I dig it, man. Appreciate love, my boy. I appreciate you coming out, man. Yo, everybody, listen, man. Thank y'all, man, for tuning in to another episode, man. Got my boy, Drew. And you see my head on his head right now, baby.
Right here.
I love it, man. Yo, everybody, man, y'all know my slogan, man. The fame is free, but the grind costs, baby. Zip them up.